Okay, last video of the day. Can't believe I have done a bunch of videos after being on hiatus for so long. So thanks for my husband Craig to contribute. He is an ISFP, and I have spoken about some of the situational goods and bads that come with a relationship with someone that looks to be somewhat opposite of an INTJ. And what this video I want to talk about is more about a conversation that I saw coming up quite a bit in some comments regarding the Mystique. And don't make me laugh about this. There's like a Mystique of the INTJ female. And I want to preface this by saying we can argue that is due to the fact that we're not the most common female type on the MBTI scale. We can talk about the other pieces that come along that were more kind of like guy, like, I don't know, like more pragmatic maybe. But this topic is more about where I hear from non-INTJ people that are interested in INTJ females and how they like the mystique and the mystery that comes with either pursuing or probably just pursuing. Because once the pursuit is done, it's kind of, you got what you paid for. So, like, I'm going to just let that kind of slide to you on what's the mystique? Like, what makes it worth going after?
Well,
that's not typical girl. Sorry, I just did a very direct thing. Sorry, you're going to hear my daughter.
Yeah. The mystique is, I guess, looking back now, I never thought of it as a mystique. It was
Bye, guys! Thank you for the video!
Sorry. Anyways, the mystique to me, the mystique is basically the whole attraction to me is just the clarity on who that person is and not. Again, it goes back to drama and none of that where you're always guessing where you're at or trying to figure things out and stuff. And that draws the attention, draws the attraction to me is trying to get to know that person. And once you start with that, typically in the first little while you're talking to that person, you'll understand where they're at. So if you know the personality types, and obviously you're watching the channel, you're into the personality types. I didn't know that stuff. Didn't know any of it till I met her. But now that I understand the difference in personality types, it gives a lot better understanding of that person or people in general, even our kids. So that is my thing is if you want to get to know that person, if you understand in the first 5 minutes of conversation that they're all, a lot of girls like drama or they're all into themselves or whatever, if they can hold a great conversation, they ask you questions or they're receptive back and forth, which is her. It's awesome. I always tell her she's a great, she helps with the communications. Like she always, she keeps the conversation going constantly. And I love it because she's great at keeping things moving where I'm not. It's not my bag, but
I would disagree, but
I have my times, but if I'm not into that person, I have a hard time communicating to them. And it doesn't matter with her. She just keeps it rolling no matter what. She'll keep everybody engaged, which is great.
And that's due to very strong work on building relational skills. That is something that is not necessarily in the wheelhouse for us INTJs at all. It came from working in customer service for almost 2 decades that allowed me to find that skill. And I've talked about it in other videos. But with the Mystique, basically what I'm wanting to get at is what, like, we hear that we're not for everyone. We're a pain in the butt, basically, because we might be veiled. We're not openly emotional. We are different in the emotion department. We don't come across as a typical female where, there's crying at the right time or, manipulation necessarily. But, I mean, obviously we can still manipulate if we want to. We're all human. But what's the difference for, like, does that play into the idea of the mystique, or is it situational based, or because is there something different that, other than you being interested in me as a person, something that makes it where it's like, this is a different type of chick?
Well, I think a lot of it is the emotional side. There's an emotional side. The guys that start dating your personality type won't see the emotional side for a very long time, and it is. But when you do see that emotional side, it means you're in. Like they are invested in you. So that is, and the biggest thing I have is it's hard to see the emotional side because you don't see it typically. And as the mystique, it's like typical women are not that personality type. They're a lot more emotional, and drama is, again, I keep bringing it up, but I mean, you're always trying to figure where you're at with that. This is where the emotional side is not there, where you don't have to worry about that. You don't have to guess that. But I think when you do see it, then you realize it's real. It's not fake. None of it's fake. So I think that's the mystique. But getting through that shell, the barrier, is a lot of it. And once you're in, then you're in. So,
do you think that the mystique has anything to do with the fact that, speaking to what you're saying, where the drama side of things in potentially normal, like regular relationships, ones that you're used to with the larger majority of, say, women in different MBTI profiles, when you're with someone as an INTJ, you tend to be like, are you for real? Like, I can't tell.
Yeah.
Where it's, this, when she says what she means and means what she says, it doesn't seem like you're not sure if that's right or not.
It is different at the start, and the lucky thing for me, we did know each other before, so I did know when we started a relationship, that who you are. I did have a lot of that already figured out, but I mean, to understand that, because you'd be guessing, I'm sure you'd be guessing at the start, how does all this fit together? How do we?
Well,
it's just so different, right? So, but and guys too, it's like, do you like that too? You have to like that.
Yeah. Because
some guys like the emotional side, some guys like that, but the emotional side's there. It's just, it's not.
It's deeper forefront. And different.
Totally.
Not deeper, but I mean, it's just the way it's housed is different.
Yep.
And it's a good point that you bring up, because that's one thing I noticed too in dating with some guys, that there was an interest in actually poking the bear, like anticipating, wanting to get that reaction that's similar that girls, like other women would do with the outbursts and stuff, and trying to take care of that person, when an INTJ is more like, figure it out for yourself. Like, I'm not going to be with you if I'm going to have to sit there and handhold you. And so, like, I wonder if that's like a difficulty with, like, either you like that or don't like that, hey? No,
100%. You don't. You have to be into that person and the way they are and see through that whole thing. But I think that's with everybody. Like, for any relationship to work, is understanding that personality type and whether it works for you or not. Just got to decide.
You'll know.
That's right.
Not for everyone. Anyways, Thank you for watching. As always, put any video requests in the comment section. I always love hearing from you guys because if it's important to you, it's important to everyone in the community. So thanks so much, and I'll hopefully post again soon with this wonderful man.
Lucky you guys.
Thanks, Craig.
You bet.